Welcome to The Love Affair, a relationship podcast. Listen in as we discuss all things love and relationships starting now. Hey everyone, welcome back to The Love Affair, a relationship podcast. I'm your host, Robin, also known as Robin the Renaissance.
And I'm her husband and co-host, Jimmy K, and we're back with another episode.
We are so excited about this episode in particular because this is the first episode in our brand new series called Fighting to Win. We have been working on this for a few weeks now. We mentioned it in our previous episode when we were reviewing Creed 3, how I got so inspired by the movie, and we've had lots of discussions around fighting and conflict resolution that we said we are going to talk about this on camera for you guys, and we are hoping that you will enjoy the series, learn from the series, grow from the series. So buckle up. Before we get into all of that good stuff, we want to kick it off with letting you know what has been good, great, and going on in our lives. We're also going to talk a little bit about what has been on and popping in social media and pop culture. And then we are going to jump into Fighting to Win. And in today's episode, we're going to talk about dealing with difficult people.
I could be one at times.
So can I. And so before we go there, talk about it. Jimmy K.
Yes.
What's good? What's great? What is going on with you? How is life treating you?
Life is good. I am on vacation, so we all know that's good. And
Always good.
Vacation Jim hadn't really showed up just yet. He's on his way. Vacation Jim will be here. But everything's going well. I'm happy to be on vacation. It's always nice to get time off. Like I always say, it's always good to get time off. Mm-hmm. So
Vacation Jim is one of my favorite aspects of your personality.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's on his way.
All right. Clock in.
Yeah.
All right. What else?
Still, I gotta work myself up, I guess. Rest up, and then Vacation Jim gonna come out full force.
We're waiting.
All right.
What else is good and great with you, if anything?
Well, I consider this great, and something that's going on next week when I go back to work. I start a new schedule. So I like this schedule because I'm going to be working in daylight all day long. During the summertime, it's going to be all day in the sunlight. So I'm happy about that. Not happy about the days of the week, so to speak, but it's still all good.
So you're actually going from a Monday through Friday
to Tuesday through Saturday schedule,
okay.
But it's earlier in the morning, 6:30 in the morning start time. So I'm happy about that. I can feel like I can feel like a regular human being now. So
that's good. I like that your job allows you guys the opportunity to change it up, and I kind of wish corporate would take on that as well, but we're not here to talk about that today. Anything else? Those are all good and great things going on.
That's it. Anything going on with you that you want to talk about?
Not too much.
Yeah.
Life is good, but I do want to shift over into what has been on and popping in pop culture.
Uh-huh.
And I wanted to share this because we are a relationship podcast. So sometimes there are things that I see on my timeline, and I'm like, what?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What? And
what the heck they were thinking?
What is going on in these streets or whatnot, or ooh, ouch, something. So one of the things that I saw, and I'm going to compile all three of these stories, over the past 2 weeks, I saw a story about a soccer player who is divorcing, going through a divorce, and his wife has discovered, I guess in the divorce petition, she is requesting spousal support.
Mm-hmm.
And she discovered that her husband doesn't have any assets. He's a world famous soccer athlete, soccer player, buku bucks. And he has been assigning his checks and putting all of his assets in his mama's name. So
His mama name?
in
He
his
put in there
mama's
mama
name.
Okay.
So they have been married for several years. I want to say
forgot
at least
wasn't it
4.
Oh, okay.
I want to say at least 4, right? And I really don't know too much about him or them or their family life or whatnot. But as wild as that is, there's another story that you share with me. I think this guy was a billionaire.
Oh, yeah.
A billionaire man is going through a divorce. His wife filed for divorce, and she discovered when she filed the divorce papers that he had already beaten her to the punch. He had already divorced her 20 years prior. So
Did he go to the Dominican? Was that where it was? Yeah.
Yes.
So I guess in the Dominican you can file for divorce without telling the other party. So
I almost laughed. It is not funny.
it's not funny. Well,
I have
no.
an inappropriate sense
yes,
of humor
you do.
sometimes.
Yes.
Dang. But that is not funny. It is not a laughing matter at all.
But you're still laughing though. You're kind of chuckling.
My wild imagination, I was like, gosh.
What you think about
But
it?
here's what he said. I'm keeping it to myself.
All right.
Here's what he said. Or here's how he did it. He took his wife on a vacation to the Dominican Republic 20 plus years ago and went ahead and divorced her without her knowing, without, like you said, they don't require that you notify the other party. And I'm like, in what world would that ever be okay?
In their world.
But in their world, in the Dominican, you can do that. And so while she's on vacation thinking whatever, he's over there like, I done got rid of you. And then he continued to live with her as if they were still lawfully wedded husband and wife. Fast forward 20 years, she now realizes, oh, I've been divorced? Again, one of those stories that's like, what?
Do you want to tell him why he did it? Do you remember why he did it?
No, you tell me.
The reason was that he figured she was going to divorce him anyway and take his money, so he beat her to the punch.
Oh my gosh, I forgot about that part. Yes. Yeah. What kind of world are we living in? Talk about it. You got the answer?
It's a question. It's a legitimate question. Do you consider these two individuals, these two men, to be ruthless or savvy? You don't have to answer it now, but that's just a question I think that was kind of floating around on social media. I do have my feelings. I tend to lean more towards the ruthless side than savvy. That's just me. If you want to answer, what do you think?
Okay. Ooh. Okay. Let me give you one more example.
Okay.
Because while I ponder,
forgot you did have another one. Yeah.
To our listeners, let us know in the comments, what do you think? Are these, as they would be called, city boys? Are these city boys up a point or not? What is this? Where do you land on it? Yeah. So here's another story. Unfortunately, I want to say around December of last year, those of us that watched the Ellen Show, we really just loved the DJ Stephen Twitch Boss. I think that was his name.
Okay.
Twitch. Well, unfortunately, he ended his life, and fast forward, it is now April, and I saw on my timeline that his wife, I guess they have revealed he died without a will. And she is now fighting for control of his estate.
Yeah.
And I was just like, this is just awful.
It's awful.
It is so awful on so many levels that she has to experience this grief, and then she has to deal with this news that he did not he didn't handle his business and assign anything to her to protect her in this way. So here's where I'm going to go with it, and then I want to circle back to answer your question. I got a lot of thoughts and opinions on all of this stuff. But I wanted to just insert this here to any of the wives listening, especially the wives. And I will include the husbands as well. But I want to just talk to the wives.
Well, talk about it.
It is imperative that today, as you are hearing this, to friends of wives, to relatives of wives, if you know a wife, it is important that you give her a nudge, give her a pat on the, give her a kick in the butt to check all of the paperwork.
Yeah.
If you are a wife and you have paperwork and you haven't assigned your business to the appropriate parties, do it.
Yeah.
If you haven't sat with your spouse to make sure all of the names and beneficiaries on all of the accounts, all of the real estate, all the deed titles, loans, credit card, everything, make sure you are listed. Do not go through this life unaware. Okay? Don't let people play you like that. To the husbands, if you have all of your stuff and you're not sure if your wife has put you on her stuff, do it today. If you are adult enough to get in front of your friends and family and say, I do in sickness and in health, I do for better, for worse, I do, and what are the other vows? If you are able to stand up and say all of that, then you are also adult enough to make sure that your spouse is listed as your beneficiary, as your power attorney. You can't really put that into play until something really goes down. But do your living wills, do your handle y'all business, your insurance, your accounts, all of your retirement stuff. I'm just going to mention this here. I talked about celebrities and other people that I don't know. But there's a real life story that I remember hearing about from one of my clients. The unfortunate accident, her husband died. And when they had been married, I want to say about maybe 10 years or so, he had a previous marriage, kids in that marriage dissolved, those kids are adults. He was single for a period of time before he remarried, and he remarried. Unfortunately, within about 10 years of that marriage, he died unexpectedly. And when he died, he did not have his wife listed on anything. Anything. She went up to his job and was trying to close out business on his job. And even though she was like, we've hosted you guys at our home for parties, some of you have played with him, I'm his wife. And they were like, legally, we can't give you any information because he never had you listed on his stuff. When it came down to the funeral, guess who got all the stuff? The ex-wife. And did she share with the current wife? Well, she did not.
Of course not.
Of course not. But she said no. So the current wife had to contend with the ex-wife and those kids. And she did not she was not taken care of.
Right.
And I remember that, and I share that with different people at different times because I'm like, I know love is grand, but you got to deal with real life.
Yeah.
And in real life, the only guarantee is death, and sometimes even divorce happens or whatnot. Cover yourself, and then love the person you're with enough to cover them as well. And welcome to my TED Talk. That's all I'm saying.
I think people misunderstand that once you get married, you think, we're married and everything will come to the spouse if anything happens to them, regardless. Like, what I mean? So they're doing that estate planning and all that stuff. I'll think of it because I turned it on me. My younger self, I just thought that when you're married, you got, you sign up marriage paperwork. If anything happened to me, everything will automatically go to you, but it just doesn't work like that. Especially in you had multiple marriages or something like that, or you can get assigned beneficiary to whomever you like.
People are leaving stuff to their cats and dogs.
Right.
So Yeah.
Yeah.
And if you never change that stuff, it will never
It will never
change.
change.
It doesn't change automatically.
Right, right.
So, yeah, welcome to my TED Talk.
All
so,
right now.
with all of that, okay, you had a question on the floor. You said, do I think that those husbands were behaving?
Was it savvy or was it ruthless? I think I know what you're going to say. I'm going to let you answer. Because I
say
kind of know
ruthless.
you said ruthless?
Yes.
Okay.
I am going to say ruthless. And because those are the only 2 words you gave me, so I'm going to stick with ruthless. And
Well,
then
if you wanna
I'm
add
going
one.
to say that there is some savviness too, you know?
We say that they were savvy-ish, but ruthless, more ruthless than savvy.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay.
Absolutely more ruthless than savvy. I think
yeah.
they benefited greatly from being savvy, but oh my gosh. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
Anywho, but we said all that to say, listen, at some point in time, we are going to encounter difficult people. At some point in time, we are going to be the difficult person
Right.
that other people have to encounter. And I was doing some research to find out what is the marriage and divorce rate in the U.S., as of 2022, the things of that nature, just wanting to understand this a little more. And
What is it, like 67, 70%?
no, you know what? A high level synopsis of it is that the divorce rate in America is actually declining.
Oh.
But here are some correlations. They're trying to figure out why. Well, a couple things have happened. In 2020, what do they call that year? The year of unprecedented times or events or whatever. What they found was that due to the effects of 2020, people weren't divorcing because they didn't have resources really. You didn't have anywhere to go, even if you were trying to leave. But they saw that although the divorce rate dropped, domestic violence rose, suicides rose, drug abuse and overdoses rose, alcohol intake rose. So there are correlations, like it's still conflict and difficulties.
It almost sounds like you're saying marriage caused all that, because you said divorce rates went down and everything else rose.
Well, that marriage is the problem. No.
No. I know you're
It's just an
saying that, but
indicator that people are still struggling to deal with other people, other humans in our relationships. We all need some help.
Yeah, we do.
And the other thing is that they noticed was that even though the divorce rate dropped, there is still a significant chance that your first marriage will end in divorce. By the time they said your second marriage, I think they said it's like around 60-something% of those second marriages will end in divorce. And I think they said third marriages, there's a 73% chance that it will end in divorce. And I said, you know what? I look at that a couple different ways. Anybody that's been married once, twice, and 3 times, boy, they sure are open to love, right? So I like that people aren't quitting on love, but
on the marriage,
but they will quit on the marriage. And so so I kind of look at it in 2 ways, like whatever you didn't learn and overcome in the first marriage, you may be repeating that in your second,
and third,
and maybe in your third. So overall, I looked at all that information to find out, what is the issue, right? And regardless of what the percentages say about if and when you will divorce, I will put my own stat out there. This has not been vetted.
Robin Statcats.
Sure. This hasn't been vetted by any, reputable agency.
Okay.
This is just me.
Okay.
I believe that 100% of divorces occur because...
I'm interested.
100% of divorces occur because conflict.
Well, you've been vetted. I would think, people don't get divorces if it's no conflict,
Yeah.
well, maybe I don't know. You never know what people be thinking, but I don't think people get divorced when there's no conflict. So I agree with you 100%. You've been fully vetted.
Due to conflict.
Yeah.
And there is a 50% chance that you were the cause of the conflict, or there's a 50% chance that it broke down because of how you reacted to
Okay.
the conflict when it occurred. So in any case,
Yeah.
you know, these parties are dissolving, these marriages are dissolving, these parties are having difficulty relating to each other and moving through conflict successfully and effectively. And ultimately they're like, you know what?
Deuces.
I'm out.
I'm out.
Call a lawyer. Or let's go to the Dominican Republic and wrap this thing up.
Don't say stuff like that when I'm drinking something because I almost lost it there.
Y'all don't get any ideas. Don't do people like that.
I
That
know.
is
Please don't.
cold-blooded.
But it's also kind of savvy though, like you said. But
yes,
I wouldn't operate that way for sure.
I wouldn't either.
Yeah.
And so that is really one of the other reasons why we are excited to bring this series, Fighting to Win, to you guys here on the podcast, because we know that it is it's tough out here relating to people and really learning how to go through some of these challenges. If you want your marriage or your relationships overall to improve, you gotta have some tools.
Can I be Captain Obvious right now?
Okay.
Conflict will happen. It's a one. You talking about your stat? I got a stat too.
Okay.
It's a 100% chance that in a marriage there will arise a conflict once or twice in a year, if not more. If not more. So, we all need the tools. We all need to learn tools how to more effectively navigate through conflict. We all need that. And I know I'm at the top of the list. So, it's better.
Are you sure you're at the top? I might be up there.
Well, we up there holding hands together, arm in arm, skipping down a yellow brick road.
Brick road?
You know how it is. I'm sleepy, so.
Come on.
But yeah, we all need. It's gonna happen. So it's better. It's far better to prepare yourself as best as you can.
Yeah.
With knowledge,
So
you know what I mean. Yeah. Anyway, go ahead.
And we have enjoyed over 20 years of marriage. In June, we will be approaching our 21. 21. Can you do something for me? Okay. No. We're here.
22.
22. We'll be. We'll reach our 21st wedding anniversary. I'm so excited. And so we have a lot to pull from, a lot of real life experience to pull from, and we'll share a lot of that here. And we something that was good, great, and going on. I forgot this. What? You mentioned that in April 20th, 420.
Oh yeah, that's right.
That was the
day
we met. And
April 20th, yeah, we met.
So 29 years.
Give me some. 29 years. Who would ever look at us?
Oh, I'm still trying to.
Sorry. Look at us, huh?
Look at us.
Look at us.
So we have 29 years of experience navigating through conflict and coming out of it better. Yeah.
Yeah. But we got experience, but we're not experts.
We are only experts on this marriage.
Yeah. Because I don't want people to get the wrong idea and be saying stuff like, I think, nah.
Yeah.
We're not experts, but we have learned.
Yeah. And we earned our stripes. So, I will flex on them if they want to.
Yeah, because we've been through some ish.
Yeah. I remember this. No, I'm not going to say. I got to stay on center.
Okay.
Because when I was talking about flexing on somebody, I was like, I remember this.
Yeah, no.
Somebody said, it's just like being married. I said, no, the heck it ain't.
Yeah.
It ain't.
Stay centered.
Ain't nothing like being married except being married.
Right.
Let's be clear.
For sure.
Okay.
You got all fired up.
I went back.
Yeah.
I got to come forward.
Yeah.
But we're here. And so in this series, we are going to talk about dealing with difficult people and how those experiences shaped our view of conflict. And we're going to talk about different types of fighters, because all of us got a little rascal inside of
Right.
us that like to, put up our dukes and be scrappy.
Yeah.
So we're going to talk about the different types of fighters and the pitfalls. And we'll identify which one is our preferred,
Preferred or default? Because preferred to me indicates like you like doing it, because I prefer chocolate over fruit.
Okay.
You get what I'm saying? So default.
Okay, which one we identify with
Yeah.
at times. Okay. We'll also talk about breach and repair. There will be breakdowns that you said, guarantee. But you know what's not guaranteed? Repair. Everyone doesn't know how to do that.
Right.
And we've had to learn how to repair and build trust and open back up lines of communication, work through a lot of things. So, yeah. And so we'll share with you guys that as well. And then we will also be sharing with you some tips that we have learned to guarantee. I don't know. Should I say guarantee?
Nothing's guaranteed, but say it, and then I will,
How to win every argument.
Yeah, no, there's no way.
Okay, so we have an
No way.
unbeliever.
No. There's no way to guarantee to win. Okay, well, I'm on record saying there's no way to guarantee, but I'd be interested to have a conversation with you and see where your head is and see what bullet points and tips you have to maybe it is true.
I'm up for the
That
challenge.
everybody can win. Both parties can win.
Everybody can walk away a winner. I guarantee it.
But I'm a skeptic.
You are the skeptic here. Okay. You want to argue about it right now?
I sure do. What you want to do? Nah.
I want to take a quick commercial break. You want to do that right now?
Sure.
Okay. We'll be back.
All right.
Hey there, are you enjoying the conversation as much as we are? Then let us know. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. We're here every other Thursday with a brand new episode, and you do not want to miss it. Okay, all right, back to the conversation. Okay, guys, we're back, and we are jumping into part 1 of Fighting to Win, where we discuss dealing with difficult people. And before we begin, I wanted to just share with you guys a video clip that we came across many years ago. We might have mentioned this, but in our former lives,
Why do you say former lives?
former lives or chapters of our lives, we worked in marriage ministry, and we taught a couple classes on it. And I used this clip as part of one of our teaching series. So it is a clip I found by Kerry Shook, and he's a pastor of some church. I can't remember, but we'll put all his information in Woodlands Church. We'll put all of his information in the full clip link in the description box on YouTube. So if you want to hear the whole thing, you can. And also, we're just going to use it here just to get a refresher and then give our opinion on it. So this is not a sponsorship or any of that other stuff. We are just going to watch this and help us to just consider what he has to say about dealing with difficult people. You want to go ahead and hit play?
All right.
Okay.
We're all under construction. We're all sandpaper people to some degree, but that's all part of God's plan to build our character and to help us forge deep and strong relationships. Really what God is doing is using sandpaper people, sandpaper problems, and sandpaper pressure to fashion us into a powerful tool to be used for His glory. Now, I know that sounds real spiritual, but the real problem is, how do you get along with all the other tools in the shed? And I've made a list of several of the tools that we have trouble getting along with in our relationships, and you'll recognize them. First is what I call the measuring tape. The measuring tape is that unpleasable and judgmental perfectionist. And they're quick to let you know that you just don't quite measure up to their standards. And they think that they set the standard and they look down on everyone else. They're judgmental, critical, and unpleasable. The measuring tape. And some of you guys have to relate to a measuring tape. And then there's what I call the hammer. The hammer is that tactless truth teller who's always causing blunt force trauma in a relationship. They bring the hammer down. They say, well, I just tell the truth and let the chips fall where they may. What they're really saying is, I'm dumb. And I have no social skills, basically. You don't have what they call the social skills. But the hammer is always coming down on people, and they say, well, I'm just telling the truth. It's true, but there's no tact. And everyone walks on eggshells around a hammer because you never know when the hammer's going to come down next. Some of you have to relate to a hammer. And then there's what I call the skill saw. Now, the skill saw is that skillful cut-down artist. You know, the one who's always skillfully saying sarcastic remarks. That was not only pathetic, it was highly dangerous. Because I have no idea what I'm doing. But the skill saw knows what they're doing. And they just know just the right thing to say that hurts the most. They know that sarcastic remark that's going to really get at you and get under your skin. In an argument, they have this unspiritual gift of knowing the most hurtful thing to say in the argument. And it may win the argument, but it tears down the relationship. Then there's what I call the vice grip. The vice grip is that needy personality that squeezes the life out of you. You know, they latch on and they get a grip and they don't let go. They really are clueless when it comes to social boundaries, and they're so needy. And no matter what you do for them, no matter how much time you spend with them, it's never enough. It never meets their needs because they're the vice grip, otherwise known as the leech. Then there's what I call the grinder. You know the grinder. Grinder never stops, I guess. I don't know. The grinder is that explosive personality that makes the sparks of anger fly. And when they get in an argument, they explode in anger or they get really emotional. I mean, they just unload and they feel a whole lot better after they've unloaded, but everyone else feels a whole lot worse because it's so destructive. And then there's what I call the axe. The axe is the glass half empty pessimist who always has an axe to grind. That should be half empty, not half full. I'm just so positive I put it down wrong. But it's the glass half empty optimist who's got this axe to grind. They're always negative, and there's nothing you can do or say that will impress them. Yeah, I've heard that before. Oh, that'll never work. We tried that before. That didn't work. Oh, that's a great idea. They're always there to chop down everyone else's ideas. They never come up with an idea of their own, but they're always there to chop down the morale of the culture in your office or in your family. They're the axe. And the axe has a relative, the hatchet. The hatchet is that inward-focused past dweller who just can't bury the hatchet. They have a great memory. They remember every time they've been wronged all through their life. They're so inward and they have such a great memory that they just remember every little hurt, every little wrong that has been done to them, and they hold on. They can't bury the hatchet. They just won't let it go, and they take it out on everyone else. Then there's what I call the putty person. The putty person is that pliable people pleaser who has no backbone. This is kind of fun. And you never really know what a putty person is truly thinking or what their idea truly is, because all they try to do is tell you what you want to hear. they really just try to please whoever they're with at the time, so they're always changing. So how in the world do you deal with all these tools in the shed? Some of you guys are going, Carrie, that's amazing. You just listed every person in my family. How do you really deal with all the tools in the shed? Jesus gives us the secret to remodeling your relationships, and he says it's all about remodeling your perspective and the way you see your relationships. So open your Bibles to Matthew chapter 7, and would you stand?
Okay, I always enjoy going back to listen to his illustration about dealing with sandpaper people and difficult people and whatnot. I like that.
Yeah.
One of the reasons why I wanted to pull that back in is because there are times when it's good to just try to identify what kind of baggage we're bringing in to our marriage and things like that. And I wanted to go back a little bit and understand, what was our early teachers telling us or demonstrating for us how to handle conflict. So we're going to take a little walk down memory lane, just to go back and try to understand a little bit about what was modeled for us growing up. So in our childhood, right? So I wanted to just lead with this question. Based on this list that Carrie Shook gave, did you encounter any of these types of quote unquote tools? He calls them tools. I'm going to say difficult people for the sake of the podcast.
Difficult.
Yeah.
You can't even call it personalities or difficult behaviors, maybe. I don't know. But anyway, I had three. I think I identified three. Was number one, no particular order, but number one was the grinder. 2 was the axe. And 3 was the hatchet. Hatchet is what it felt like I experienced growing up, at home. So
okay. For a quick overview, what was it again?
You want me? Yeah.
I can just.
Okay, go ahead.
You said who?
The grinder.
Okay, so grinder, the explosive personality that makes the sparks of anger fly, or they're just emotionally explosive.
The axe.
The axe is the glass half full pessimist.
Supposed to be half empty though. Remember he did.
Oh yeah, he did say that. Yeah. So the glass half empty pessimist who always has an axe to grind. And then you said your third one. Hatchet. The inward focused past dweller who just can't bury the hatchet. Okay. So we encountered very similar types of tools growing up. So while I do feel like, because I came from a larger family than you, I feel like every last one of them and then some really are on this, are part of that toolbox. Yeah. So, but I will say my primary teachers, I'm going to say my parents, mom, dad. For me, my mother was the measuring tape and the axe.
Okay.
And my father was the grinder. Okay. And of course, people kind of float in and out of some of these other behaviors, but for the most part, those were my models.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I think I've did it, probably all of those at one point in time, you know what I mean? Yeah, but anyway.
But growing up in those environments where that's what's demonstrated, it really does shape our worldview on what do we do with conflict? How do we behave in conflict? How do we resolve it? Things of that nature. And so whether or not they're actually intending to teach us this quote unquote way, we pick it up along the way.
You absorb it. It's like osmosis almost. You absorb that stuff,
So what influence did it have on your worldview? What was your worldview of conflict based on seeing that?
What was my worldview on conflict as it relates to these?
If you grew up, you said you grew up with the grinder, the axe, and the hatchet. Okay.
Yeah.
How did seeing that on display? How did it shape your worldview, or your perception of what conflict is and how it should be handled?
Well, what it caused me to do was become a putty person. Yeah, because I don't know. I don't like when we talk about the grinder. You talk about the explosive personality. The sparks fly. It might. With that, I just envision a lot of yelling, a lot of a lot of emotion. You know what I mean? I don't like seeing that. I don't like being anger. Me personally, I don't like being angry. I don't like displaying that type of emotion. So I don't want to do it. And I didn't want to experience it. So for me, you get what I'm saying? For me, like, so I wouldn't have to see that or experience it, I try to just make everything as best as I could just to be easy with everybody. You know what I mean? In my family, to be cool, to be, to be the good little boy, to try not to, just trying to people please. I think that's what he said in there. Kind of the putty person, kind of like a people pleaser. So I just wanted to make sure I did my part to make sure everybody was okay. You know what I mean? Everybody could stay calm and,
Okay.
So so I did bring that. I did bring that attitude and behavior into our relationship. I don't know if you want to get into that now. You want to wait a little bit.
Yeah, because you said some other things I want to hang out at there. Going back to your worldview, so you saw conflict as what? Was it a positive thing, negative thing, or
it was always
a
negative.
consistent thing?
It wasn't
something that
necessarily
happened? What would cause these emotions or these sparks, or would you? Because did you have to be on eggshells around a person like that, or
no,
or individuals like that?
I don't feel like I had to be on eggshells per se. Like I was on guard all the time, but I wanted to make sure that it didn't, those kind of explosive, things didn't happen. So I try to make sure, I try to stay ahead. So I guess since I'm talking through it, I guess it does maybe kind of like I'm on eggshells. If I'm anticipating, that something could pop off and I'm trying to do everything I can with my behavior, my actions for it not to happen, I guess I would be on eggshells. But what was the other part of the question you said? You said
I don't really. I was trying to just understand, but you're kind of answering the question. But I think I was just saying like worldview. So I'm gonna back up and I'm gonna answer it, because for me, I looked at conflict as something that naturally occurred in relationships. It wasn't something to avoid. It was destined to happen.
Yeah.
And when it happened, here's how it would go down. Right? So I didn't grow up avoiding conflict. I knew that it seemed like, and especially in my family, we gonna argue, we gonna fight, it's gonna get physical. You're gonna call people out their names, you're gonna sabotage, you're gonna undermine, you're gonna gather people to get on your side, and it's like a war zone to me.
Yeah.
It's cliquish, it's a whole lot of stuff that goes on in and around conflict. So I learned very early on that, okay, everybody here is a fighter of some kind. So I got to figure out how I'm going to fight. So it shaped my worldview of conflict as I need to stay ready, because it can go down at any time.
At any time.
So
I get what you're saying.
Some people look at conflict as it's something to be avoided, or it's a bad thing if you ever argue or disagree or have whatnot. To me, it was like, this is normal.
Yeah, and I did grow up thinking that conflict was always a negative. It was that nothing good would come of conflict. I think the difference in my family is we didn't really talk things out all the time. You know what I mean? Like if there was a conflict or we took issues, especially with my brothers, we never really sat down and had a conversation like, what you did pissed me off, and it maybe need to be an apology or something need to be rectified. So because we swept things under the rug, that's how it affected my view on conflict. It's like things don't need to be addressed. We wait for it to blow over. You know what I'm saying? So we just wait for cooler heads or people to calm down, and we don't have to talk about it again. And even if there wasn't an explosion, I know a few times there may have been some apologies or whatever, but for the most part, it was like, yeah, we just, it's kind of like don't ask, don't tell almost. And it seems to me, now that I'm thinking through this, like when there was, I kind of going into correction. But anyway, I tell anyway.
But are you conflating
No,
getting
I'm not. I don't
disciplined or corrected by your
discipline because
versus conflict with them?
No, not necessarily. Let me just talk through it real quick.
Okay.
So it's like the only conversation we would have. I give this example. Hopefully this will help. This is just a benign example. Let's just say a little child runs out in the street without looking both ways.
Okay.
Okay. So the mother or father just comes, snatch them and say, "You don't do that." And you just start yelling at them without fully explaining why that's dangerous.
Okay.
Right. So I gave that example because that's kind of how it was growing up. I seem to remember a lot of times getting corrected, but getting corrected was kind of more of a yelling type, maybe. You know what I'm saying?
So out of fear and anger, not out of instruction.
Yeah.
Okay.
Instead of because I don't think we had any kind of like family meetings or anything. I really don't remember to have a sit down and say, "Hey, the reason I did X, Y, Z is because I don't want this to happen in the future, or I'm trying to teach you." You know what I mean? Something like that. So, growing up, I think that's growing up that way kind of shaped me into dealing with that. Shaped me in my relationship now is because God dang it, I lost my train of thought.
So wait, let me go back a little bit, because it sounds like you're trying to go back and think about how it shaped your worldview then, but you're also leaping into 20 years of marriage to say, I'm looking back at that now. And But so if maybe I could keep you in the past for just a moment, because I'm trying to just really understand that. We will have a conversation as
Yeah, because I'm going too far ahead.
Because I do want to see how did it affect us in our marriage, but I'm just trying to get a clearer understanding of what little Jimmy was experiencing. Okay.
Yeah.
And how that influenced and impacted your behavior and conflict later on, right? And again, this is not therapy session at all, because I'm not a licensed therapist. And I'm just trying to draw a correlation to something that was in Creed. So just a quick aside, in the movie, Creed had to go. He was fighting Dane, and he had to go to the corner in between rounds.
Right.
And his uncle had to tell him to forget about the past and focus on what's here and now. And I mentioned that in a previous episode about shadow boxing, how a lot of times we are fighting something in the shadows, something that's not quite happening right here, right now with this person, but it may be a shadow or a feeling or a repeat of something we might have experienced back then. And so we're bringing all of that vigilance and vitriol into this current present day fight. And it's like, wait, that's not at all what's happening here, So, but it's good to understand how some of those things in the past are informing our behaviors in the present. So you want to get into informing the present, but I want to stay in the past for a little bit before you go there. So, did you feel like growing up in that environment where, there's emotions and there's anger and there's fear or whatever happening, and you're kind of like, what did I do? I'm just, you don't fully get the opportunity to. Well, did you have the opportunity to ask questions about why are you yelling, or what was wrong, or can you explain a little bit more
No,
about?
it was kind of more of, what my mom said goes. So it wasn't really, wasn't really space, I don't believe, to ask questions like that. You know what I mean? Just do what you're told.
Just do as you're told. Okay.
Yeah.
Do you feel like you got a chance to express your emotions or your thoughts in any capacity?
I'm pretty sure in some capacity, but we talking about conflict, or yeah, we talking about conflict. I don't remember expressing anything other than maybe crying, so whatever that emotion that is, sadness or
Okay.
something like that. Yeah.
Do you feel like there was an open pathway to be able to say, you know what?
No.
I would like to sit down and
No.
talk about
No.
how
Not
you
at
might
all.
have misunderstood my
No,
behavior
no.
at school this day, or why I, that.
No.
So then, how did it influence you then, or shape your view that you had to
I probably
stuff your
suppressed.
sorries in a sack, like on
Yeah.
Seinfeld?
Yeah, stuff your sorries in a sack, Mister or Missy. Yeah.
Did you suppress?
I'm sure I suppressed.
I don't
my
want to use a lot of
emotions.
therapized
I know,
words, but
I know,
need to.
but I'm understanding what you're saying, where you're getting at. But yeah, I kind of, whatever emotions I was feeling back then, I learned how to suppress them, and that carried over. You know what I mean? To when I got a little older, so I just suppressed whatever. If I was confused or didn't understand,
Okay.
wanted to ask questions or I just suppressed it. Anyway, go ahead.
Okay, I was just going to say, so based on what I heard so far, is that the influence it had on you was to suppress your own emotions,
Right.
to avoid ruffling anybody's feathers, to prevent these types of outbursts or exchanges that you were having, and then to also just, I'm going to use the word, either pretend like nothing ever happened or go on as if nothing ever happened, because everybody then just gets quiet.
Yeah.
The issue, whatever the issue was, gets,
Yeah.
you said, under the rug, and then
Yeah.
every time
Yeah.
just has to come in and
just smooth it out. Time heals all wounds, I guess. You know what I mean?
time doesn't heal wounds that aren't exposed.
Well,
I
you
don't
trying to
know.
get
I
you
don't
trying
know.
to get all technical. I'm
don't
just
know.
I'm just
Let me
saying that was the
back up off
thought.
that.
I think that was just the thought process and the feeling
Okay.
that I had growing up.
So then who would initiate reconciliation of some sort?
It would just happen. I mean,
would just happen?
Quote reconciliation, or quote unquote, just happen because it would just be like we just start talking again.
Okay.
After a dead period or whatever, we just
That is so interesting. I'm
Yeah.
glad you're sharing that. That takes a lot to just go back and kind of think through all of that, and then see it through the lens of, our 40-year-old minds now. Like, whoa, okay. It's some kind of meme or something on social media where people talk about how Black parents apologize after they go off on you. They like,
bust in the room like, y'all want.
Y'all
I'm about to
wanna
go
go
to the
McDonald's?
store. I'm
Y'all
about to go
want
to the store.
anything?
You want something?
yeah,
Yeah.
and okay, all right.
Come down here and eat.
Yeah, and then it's kind of like, we're just going to carry on.
Yeah.
So, okay. And so you said as a result of those experiences, as in your childhood, you became the type of difficult person that you became.
Was the putty person.
A putty person. Okay. So can we talk about it from my perspective now?
I think we need to.
You ready? You ready to spotlight off you?
Yeah, I think we took up too much time on me.
No, I know how much you don't enjoy
hate it.
being under the
I
spotlight,
hate
but
it.
I like when you're under the spotlight. I
it.
like digging in. Okay, so I'll share what my worldview was. Like, I kind of shared that already, that, I just need to stay ready. I need to stay vigilant. I grew up feeling like I didn't have any allies.
Yeah.
Like there wasn't anybody on my team that I felt like, okay, it's going to be me and you against them. It's going to be here, there. I didn't. So I really knew that I had to just look out for myself in the best way that I knew how. These are my family members, but they are not my friends.
Yeah.
So there's already this adversarial, hostile undercurrent there, and then I'm second to the youngest. So a lot of my conflict was with the people who were older,
Yeah.
who were supposed to be protecting, who were supposed to be, watchful and careful, but they weren't. So again, that made me, again, more hyper vigilant and hyper aware. And with the way that my dad would be
Was it grinder?
the grinder, we never knew when it was coming. In any time of day, any day of the week, he could go off about something. And it usually was misdirected, misplaced anger and rage. Something between him and my mom, something between him and the older siblings, something with people, who knows what. But the people who would get it, I was one of the kids that would get it.
Yeah.
So, and they believed in whooping kids' ass. I mean, you gonna get your ass whooped, and you gonna get whooped with
It's
us.
not funny.
I know. I'm
But
just saying. It's
funny
like,
the way you said it. That's all.
and then they, we got whooped. Switches, extension cords, shoes, hands, brooms, curtain rods, whatever. We got whooped, beat. And I remember, I think I was in my 20s or 30s, and I was thinking about some of the ways I got whooped. And I told one of my sisters, I said, I think we were abused as kids. And she said, we were just bad. And I said, we were not that bad. I know for a fact I was not that bad.
Yeah.
Because I tried to be like you at one point, like, let me just try and be good to avoid any sparks. But it didn't make a difference. And then the other part of that was with some of my older siblings, they were getting into foolery and shenanigans, and they had the opportunity to leave the house.
Yeah.
But it didn't leave and stay with them. The rest of us had to deal with the aftermath.
Right.
And I remember my parents believed that if one person's getting a whooping,
Everybody.
everybody in the house is getting a whooping, because either you getting a whooping for something you did that we don't know about, or something else that you did that we just it's time. You need a whooping.
Or you knew
Yeah.
what was going on.
Or we gonna whoop you. We gonna let you stand here and watch this one get whooped. And then we gonna whoop you so you know not to do what they did.
Right.
And I always looked at that like, this is injustice.
Yeah.
How the heck am I here for something they did? And so it just made me watchful and aware and scared and concerned and angry,
Yeah.
sitting on ready.
Yeah.
Because everybody has this displaced hostility and rage and anger, and nobody knows where to put it except on the other party.
Yeah.
Whoever, So my experience was different in that regard, that I looked at conflict as anybody could get it, anytime, anywhere, any place, and you better be ready. And so I learned to fight physically, but I also learned to fight with my words. And then I was trying to learn to fight strategically, like, how can I outwit, outsmart someone else,
Yeah.
I don't know. So it's just, And I think for me, it turned me, and the difficult person that it turned me into, the hatchet. Because I will remember a wrong, and I will not let you get away with it. Because again, it's injustice.
Yeah.
I used to see bad people, my siblings or my parents or whatever, bad people behaving badly and getting away with it. And someone else has to deal with the aftermath.
Effects, yeah.
And I'm like, the rest of us that have to stand back and deal with what you brought upon us, and you get to go gallivanting somewhere else, when I get my hands on you, I might not win this fight. I'm like, I might not win, but I'm gonna put up a good fight.
Yeah.
And that's the other part of it, was that I never back down.
You little silly.
To this day, I have a hard time backing down, backing away, because I look at it as, oh, you trying to get
You
one
trying to get one
over
off.
on
Yeah,
me. You
yeah.
think you can punk me? You think you can play me? You think I'm gonna let this slide? Because I'm not.
Right. No, you don't let many things go.
I don't let many things go. And it is harmful to me. And it is harmful to the other people that I'm in a relationship with.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I'm not saying yeah. I'm not saying yeah like that. But I was just thinking. I'm just thinking about myself because I'm not a punk, but I do back down. I guess I don't know what I do. I will like, okay. I don't want to fight. I don't want to argue. I will do that.
You will put a pin in it.
But it's because I don't want to get to that point, because if I'm talking about it, if I'm saying something, that means I'm really pissed off. And if I'm really pissed off, then that's when explosive Jim could pop off. And I don't want to, we're going to talk about that later. I don't want to have to do the breach. I don't want to have to go through the breach and repair stage of a relationship. I don't. You know what I mean? So, yeah, that's it.
Oh, yeah. I definitely want to keep this conversation going. So,
Want to take a break?
I kind of want to take a break, but yeah, let's take a quick break here, but then we'll keep the conversation going because we're just getting started.
I know.
Okay.
All right.
That's all the time we have for today, but we're definitely continuing the conversation in the next episode. You don't want to miss it. Before you go, be sure to like, comment, subscribe, rate, follow, do all of those things that will let us know you enjoyed the conversation and that you support us. That would really encourage us to keep going. So until next time, thank you so much for listening and take care.